Hello, welcome everybody to OverlyBiased.com inaugural betting advice video. We will tell you our expert in-depth analysis for this weekend's hottest games. My name is Raymond Serrano.
My name is Ben Feldman.
And we're going to start off this segment with our guaranteed picks of the weekend that are definitely guaranteed to complete your parlay card. First, we have Oak State over Baylor. Oak State, is a high-tempoed offense, one that Baylor had struggled managing when they played OU last week and Baker Mayfield. I really think Oak State coming into this game at +1 could definitely beat or maybe lose by 1 too. But a Baylor team that after losing their quarterback, after Corey Coleman's been banged up, I really don't see them covering that -1.
I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a decisive game. I just look to see how Oklahoma State responds this week after all the college football playoff discussions, if they go undefeated or if they don't go undefeated.
Definitely.
If they make the playoffs, and I feel like, simply this time of year, just take care of business. They got 2 games in Stillwater between Baylor and, of course, next week against Oklahoma in the Bedlam Bowl. Should be a great game, and let's see how Oklahoma State plays this weekend.
All right, next we got Memphis over Temple. You saw Temple last week against South Florida that was a terrible game. I'm not going to lie, I took Temple money line in that one of the worst picks I made all weekend. I think Temple's really an overrated team. They're ranked number 22. Obviously now they've dropped out of the top 25. But what I saw out of them at MetLife next weekend, there is no way I'm taking them at 1.5 over Memphis. What do you think?
This game is going to be a great game because I want to see how Temple plays, how their fast game, and how Jackson plays at the wide receiver position for them. Big wide receiver who plays like a tight end, but also he can make good blocks in the open field. In this game, I just look to see how both teams play overall in a great, well-constructed way. And at the end of the day, I like Temple 37-34. It's going to be a great game, but I think
I don't know. You did see Memphis really lose a heartbreaker last week against Houston. So, it comes into question if can they finish games. If the Memphis team beat Houston last week, maybe didn't let up that field goal, maybe you could see them somewhere within the top 15. You never know.
Maybe Memphis is just a tad overrated this year, even though they beat Ole Miss in the SEC.
That's possible.
I still feel like...
Well, that takes the SEC. That takes into our next bet. Another one of my guaranteed bets of the week is actually the Citadel, covering at +20 against South Carolina. South Carolina, a team 2-7 this year. I think completely one of the worst teams in the SEC. And I really like Citadel coming in 7-2 to cover the +20. What do you think, Ben?
Oh boy, Citadel in this game, I would get in fast because that spread is going to drop faster than you can even believe.
Absolutely.
But if you wait till tomorrow night, the spread will be down from 20 to 16.5. So look to get in early. There's going to be a lot of action in this game today and tomorrow morning.
All right, now that brings us into our underdogs. My first underdog, I like USC to go in and win money line in Eugene against Oregon. USC, after getting rid of Sark, I really think that, lit a fire under the USC team. Cody Kessler, you have Juju Smith-Schuster, I think one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, definitely worthy of the Heisman discussion. And I may be a little bit overly biased towards USC. I'm a huge USC fan, but I definitely have USC to go into Eugene and beat an Oregon team.
Boy, I like USC in this game. The keys to factors, how can USC run the ball against Oregon's defensive line? That defensive line knows how to make tackles very fast. And of course, the safety position, Oregon forces a lot of turnovers. This year they forced 19 turnovers, I believe. So look for USC to hold onto the ball, and if they hold on the ball, I like USC this weekend, 33-29 SC.
And definitely look for Adoree Jackson, Smith-Schuster get involved on the outside.
Good game.
Next game we have Utah covering the -2 at home against UCLA. UCLA is a team we just saw lose to Washington State. They lost previously against Arizona State at home. I just question, if that UCLA defense, they lost Miles Jack, one of their best defensive players. I just question what UCLA team we're going to see out there. Are we going to see the UCLA team that won a thriller against BYU, or are we going to see the team that lost to Washington State at home?
Yeah, I believe UCLA hasn't won in Salt Lake City since 1991. I don't see it happening again. That's 9 in a row. And I like Utah in this game, and I actually like Utah by a fairly large margin.
There's been a lot of talk comparing Josh Rosen and Cody Kessler, 2 quarterback superstars of the Pac-12. So, let's take a look at the different stats that each one of these quarterbacks has put up throughout the year. All right, now let's go into the big upsets this week. For me, it's definitely going to be Mizzou over Tennessee. You have a Missouri team that's playing with a lot of passion in light of the charges of racial discrimination brought against their university president. Obviously the football players banded together as a team, one of the first things that we've seen this year, the Missouri team coming together and really playing as a team. That obviously earned them a big win against BYU this past week. And I think that they're going to go into Tennessee. I think they're going to beat a volunteer team. What do you think, Ben?
I think in this game, the keys to this game is how Missouri can contain Tennessee's quarterback in the pocket and potentially their wildcat formation. It should be a good game. I'm just looking for Missouri to really play a hard-fought defensive game and somehow win, a 12-10, 15-13 game. It should be a good win.
Definitely.
And for this week, my upset pick of the week would be Iowa versus Purdue. At the end of the day, I feel like Purdue, their spread offense, you can expect 62, 65 pass attempts in this game by Purdue. I think it's just too much for Iowa, and Iowa doesn't respond late, and I like Purdue 30-26 in a great game. It'll be a thriller, and I hope everyone gets in on it because at 16-1 odds, put $20 on it. That money turns into $320. I like my odds. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, definitely. There's obviously been a lot of talk of is Iowa deserving, that top 5 ranking.
And I mean, it's certainly right now, in my opinion, you know what? If you're 6-0 in your conference, 4-0 out of conference, I don't care who you play. Their strength of schedule's not that bad at 47. I think Iowa right now deserves to be currently at 5 in the country. So we'll just see how it plays out.
We'll
but
see
I
how
feel like
against Purdue this weekend, definitely.
Purdue and the next week, of course, at Lincoln. That's what you call the ultimate test of an undefeated season. So we'll see what happens.
All right, now we're going to go into our parlay picks of the week. For me, I'm going to start off with the intriguing NFL matchup. That's going to be Oakland actually at Detroit. What surprised me the most about this game was strictly a pick'em. It was the line is even. I really think Derek Carr, that high-tempo offense, Michael Crabtree, I do have him on my fantasy team. Hope he does well. I think they could definitely handle the Detroit team. Did see a little glimpse of greatness last week against Green Bay. But I definitely like Oakland in that game. Next, I'm going to go into New England and Buffalo. Now, there has been a lot of talk that New England's not going to be the same team since losing Julian Edelman. But if losing Julian Edelman just means Danny Amendola is going to catch double the passes he's been catching recently. So not only should you take New England at -7, pick up Danny Amendola on your fantasy team. He can reel in 15 to 20 points for you if he has a good day. Last, I'm going to take Chicago against Denver. This is a Chicago team that I think is really rebounding. You see Jeremy Langford and Jay Cutler. I look for them to have a huge game and definitely beat a Denver team that has a very inexperienced quarterback. Lost Peyton Manning, obviously torn muscle in his foot. I really don't think they're going to be able to take Emmanuel Sanders and Demarius Thomas and get them the passes they need to have success against Chicago defense. So for you, Ben, what do you think about this weekend? What's a parlay you're really looking to give to our viewers?
I'm going to be simple as this. Take Michigan with the -3. If it moves down to -3 right now, it's currently at 3.5. So if it's at 3.5, you bet a money line. If it's -3, take the 3 points. Then I like Michigan State at +14, and I like Charleston Southern against Bama at +38.5 currently.
Wow. Thank you guys so much for joining us on OverlyBiased.com's first betting advice talk show. My name is Raymond.
My name is Ben Feldman. I want to give a quick shout out to Stephen A. at ESPN.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, and good luck with your weekend betting.